because I've been overseas before. You guys probably have too. But the table over there, they're speaking German. These people are speaking Turkish. Those people are speaking Hungarian. You know, and it just is like cacophony constantly of all these different languages going on all around us. I just wanted to break from it.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. Yes, it's not the Mickey Mouse Club. Well, it sort of is, but we're the Gun Cranks. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and special assignments editor Roy Huntington. And Roy, I got to tell you, you've been gone. I'm getting tired of answering your mail. People, we keep doing wonderful stuff, and they're like, "Where's Roy? Where's Roy?" Well, where in the heck have you been, Roy?
Well, Susie says 2 weeks in Italy, but it felt like 3 months. I mean, everyone always says, "Oh, Italy, oh, I love it. It's the most wonderful place in the world. You'll love it, and you'll love it." And it is. It was very nice. It was very fun. Asked me if I saw any churches. So
you saw one or two, right?
Oh, Lord. And scooters, Vespa scooters, and teeny tiny cars. But we did manage to eat and drink our way around kind of the northern part of Italy. And but part of the travels I thought was really interesting was the fact that I looked up when we were on the freeway and I realized that we were approaching this, and I have to look at it. It's Gardone Valtrompia. And I have no idea if that's how you say it or not.
Probably not.
That's where they make all the guns in Italy.
You have to say it with a mouthful of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Then you get the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, which you are not allowed to cut up. I'm here to tell you.
Really?
Talk about being labeled the ugly American. I mean, they look at you and sniff.
Oh. So you can't ask for a knife to cut your spaghetti.
Oh no! There's not even a knife on the table. Have you lost your mind, you crazy American?
Did you ever order SpaghettiOs?
The people were very nice. The ladies were well dressed. Everybody was slender. The portions on the meals were human being sized, not triple large, thirsty 2-ounces.
Catching my breath.
And I was amazed. Actually, everything was really affordable. I mean, you can buy a bottle of really good wine for dinner, not a glass, a bottle of wine for $20. And it was really good. Yeah, we were consistently surprised. But 2 weeks was really long enough. And you want one of the funny things that, because I've been overseas before, you guys probably have too, but it was weird to be in a restaurant because the table over there, they're speaking German. These people are speaking Turkish. Those people are speaking Hungarian, and it just this like cacophony constantly of all these different languages going on all around you. And I just wanted to break from it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we just got back from a long Caribbean cruise, and we had driven to Florida to see family. So it was a little over 2 weeks, and coming home, there's no place like home. I love to travel. I think all you guys are the same. We all like to travel, but boy, it's nice to get home and sleep in your own bed.
It is true. I will say I accidentally ordered a hamburger in a kind of a fancy restaurant because it was all in Italian. And I said, well, I'll have that, please. And he said, oh, molto bene. And he brought a hamburger. It was like a hamburger on a bun. And with some vegetables or something with it. But I have to tell you, it was the best damn hamburger I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
And so
of course, he was, as soon as he got to the back, it's like
beef patties.
Well, I'm thinking the waiter went in the back and said, the hillbilly out here, the Clampett family would like a hamburger.
Yep. And that is the other if you are traveling to Europe and you are listening to this, please leave your Hawaiian shirt and your baseball cap at home, okay? Because these people dress kind of nicely. And so just dress nicely while you're there, and you won't stand out like a sore thumb, ugly American. And because we were in, I don't remember where, Verona or something. I don't remember where. And there was your obligatory Roman ruins around. And one of them was this big, like a Colosseum. It's the third biggest Colosseum. And I have to say it was interesting because you look at that and it says made in 30 AD. And you think, okay, well, that's pretty amazing because there it is right there, and all the Romans used to going back and forth. But I was looking around, there's some American tourists and they're just acting the fool, they're like yelling at each other and they got baseball caps on and football jerseys. And I just went, so I hid behind a tree till they were gone.
Well, I'm sure you've got a million more stories, but guns. What about guns, Roy? It's Italy. They got lots of guns.
Well, it's interesting because after driving through we didn't stop and visit anywhere, but you could see some factory stuff going on and all that kind of stuff. So I did a little bit of research. And then after that, I kept talking to the local Italian people who we met about guns, and I would say, here's who I am, here's where we come from and all that kind of stuff. And first of all, Tom, especially, I was surprised at the number who knew American Handgunner magazine. And Guns magazine, they were like, I said, but I was surprised a lot of them knew about American Handgunner magazine. Huh. Most of the adult men are interested in guns. I was very surprised. I mean, just talking to somebody, it's like, hey, I'm from America. Tell me about gun owning. But the difference really there is the culture is very hunting centric. They're hunting focused and they love hunting and they go hunting. And it's predominantly a rural country. And so basically you're allowed to own guns in Italy and you just have to get a license and you can own a rifle, a shotgun, a pistol. You can't own full auto anything. You can't own a suppressor and you can't own anything military, which they were a little vague on, but AR-15 or assault rifles or that kind of stuff. You can't own that. But they were pretty passionate about it, and everybody knew about Gun Valley, and they all knew all the manufacturers, and who was there, and they seemed to be really proud of it. And I was very surprised. It was like talking to a fellow shooter.
Really?
It was astounding. I learned that in Gun Valley, there's 126 manufacturers. Paeta, Beretta, which, by the way, founded the place in like 1521, and they're still there, and they're still in business. Yeah. Uberti, Chiappa, Peter Soley, a lot of these names we're familiar with bringing in the cowboy guns. But they export almost 400,000 guns a year to the United States from that little tiny area. It's absolutely astounding. And I read that 90% of the guns they manufacture in Italy are exported. And 70% of those guns go to the EU. Basically, what I learned was there's a lot more gun owning going on in Italy, especially, than I ever would have realized. And like one guy said, he said, well, we invented the mafia.
How do you take that?
I know, and they said that most people say they feel very safe on the streets. I certainly didn't see any real issues anywhere. We were primarily in the cities and in the central part of the old cities. But they said, there is still home invasions. There are still some armed robberies, but, to a much lesser degree. In my research, I learned there's like 8.5 million guns for 80 million people. That's how many people are in there. And then I have to refer to my notes here. That's 14.4 guns per every 100 people in Italy. And to balance that in the United States, we're 120 guns per every 100 citizens. And that's not enough, my God. I want to see more than that, Anyway, but not to go on too long about it, but I think it was very interesting. I learned that they make $7 billion a year is what that Gun Valley area produces. And they said something that really struck a chord with me. And I was reminded of this by several people. They only really have the current sort of government and whatnot from the late 40s. It was after the war. Everything was up in the air. Then they settled down and they kind of created a government, which changes about every 6 months, from what I understand. So, but they said, we have no Bill of Rights here. We have no constitution that guarantees firearms ownership, and since the late 40s. And he said, this is one guy, and he said there is no right to own a gun in Italy. And so this one gentleman was really well spoken. He said, I just feel that our culture is much more accepting on the rules and regulations, because we don't have that right. None of us can stand up and say, it's my right to own a gun.
Yeah.
He said, so yeah, we tend to be a little more patient, a little more understanding that there has to be some laws, And so it was, I didn't really know what to say. I listened, and it was, as is always the case though, when you go to another country last night, or like that, especially when you explore something that you're interested in, like with us, it's guns. It reminds me that we're all just people, and it's not what it seems. You really have to put boots on the ground, to get what's going on there. So yeah. I thought it was really interesting. And plus, I love the Italian guns. I think we've all had Ubertis and, Paillette and stuff like that. But I never, well, of course, they also have the spaghetti Westerns, right? So that's proof it's a gun culture. But there you go. That's kind of what I learned. What did you guys learn from what I learned?
Did you have any discussion? Did you get a sense for how do they feel about America and the violence problem in America? Did you have any discussions about that?
Yeah, I did, because how can you not? It's like the big elephant in the room, kind of. And it was really interesting because on one hand, they admire and respect our independence and fierce freedom, because they kind of remember Mussolini, the Nazis. They've been, kind of owned by a lot of people over the years. And so they value their freedom now, but they don't seem to have that deep rooted sense that we have. And so we talked a little bit about that, but all they said, and I can't remember the name, but it was like, it's craziness about our violence, and like one guy said, he said, you have everything there. He says, then so why do people do this? And he was right.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You can also credit the media, I think, for fostering that mentality throughout Europe, because we're actually not the most violent country among European nations.
It's true. Well,
we're really not. You look at, we're 350 million people, so yeah, we're over 4 times the size of Italy. So yes, there are more news reports, but on a per capita basis, looking at the raw things like violent crime and murder and all that stuff, we're not number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But you'd think we were.
Yeah. Well, it's that old news thing about if it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
And I think that's what people overseas, that's all they see.
Yeah.
Because if there's a mass shooting in America, that makes the daily news in Germany.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they think that that's how it is here. It's like when I was a kid, I was in Australia, and I was just 10 years old or something. I remember vividly, we were out on the playground. We were going to play cricket, of all things. And this kids seriously asked me, how is there any room to play baseball in the United States? Because they really thought it was all like New York City.
Yeah.
And so you're right, Tom. I think there's a lot of it has to do with that, But the other side that is that, there hasn't been any mass shootings there, and I don't understand that dynamic. I don't know why
in Italy.
Yeah, in Italy there hasn't been, and I don't know why that suddenly has happened like it has in the last few years here. I don't know if there's something we can learn from that or not, but I don't know. The culture is so different, but they do know how to make nice guns, though, and they do know how to make wine and pasta and balsamic vinegar, which is a whole other story, and we'll do it on another show.
Wow. So. Well, cool. Well, I can't wait to hear more stories about it. And I'm really hung up by that. You have everything. Why do you have all this violence? That makes a lot of sense. But let's not let the facts or common sense get in the way of common sense gun control, right?
Screw your freedom.
Let's not go down that road. But anyway, well, it's great that you guys are back, and sounds like it might have been a few days too long for you, but welcome back to the good old US of A and Guns Magazine and American Handgunner Magazine and the Guns Magazine podcast. And Tom, we've got special editions. What's on the front burner right now?
Oh, I got DIY on the brain. See, Roy keeps writing about DIY stuff, and he keeps telling me to buy like a benchtop mill and stuff like that. So we're working on the DIY special edition right now.
Well, cool. We can check it out.
Keep an eye out for that coming soon.
Exactly.
And what's out now? We got a surplus special edition out now, a concealed carry and self-defense. You can find all of those on any of our websites.
Or Amazon, right?
Or Amazon. That's right.
So, well, guys, it was great hearing about your travels, Roy. So I'm sure we'll have some more discussions about this. Now I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to do a little research on the Italian gun industry because they do make some good stuff over there. So,
they really do. And I think this brings up another question, which is, what is the right gun to shoot when you're eating spaghetti? And I don't have an answer for that, but there's got to be the right.
I do.
Not with a knife.
I do. A replica single action armory. I mean, that's what it's got to be, right? Absolutely.
That's right.
All right, guys.
Let me go on about it.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap this thing up, put a nice neat bow, and then a dollop of marinara sauce in honor of Roy's travels. So it's been great talking, and we're glad you're back, Roy. And make sure you check out all of our various and sundry magazines, websites, podcasts, and whatever else you can check out that belongs to us. So anyway, on behalf of Tom McHale and Roy Huntington, I'm Brent Wheat, and we're going to see you next time on The Gun Cranks.